and welcome to La Rosa Reads. I'm Denise La Rosa, and today I am going to predict the winner of the NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Literary Fiction. Let's talk books. So I'm trying something new here, friends. I happen to be scrolling through my IG account, my IG feed, I should say, and I saw Spine Vines, an account that I love. I saw Spine Vines post about the NAACP Image Awards Outstanding Literary Fiction nominees, and I thought, ooh, let me read these and let me make some predictions, and so I did just that. Two of the books I had already read, so that made this all the more exciting and doable for me, quite frankly, because I don't consider myself a super fast reader. So I had already read Let Us Descend by Jesmyn Ward and The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride. That left me with 3 more books to read to have completed reading all 5 of the nominated books. I am excited to say that I think I have a very solid prediction. Let's think though, let's back it up because this is for the 2024 awards, which is using books from 2023. So we need to do some research. Your girl isn't Dr. La Rosa for nothing. I want to take a look at the winners, the nominees and the winners from the last 5 years to see if there's a pattern, to see if knowing who those nominees and winners were, if that can give me an idea as to who might win this year. So let's start with 2018. In 2018, the nominees were The Annotated African American Folktales, Little Fires Everywhere, No One Is Coming to Save Us, Sing Unburied Sing, and The Wide Circumference. The winner that year was The Annotated African American Folktales. In 2019, the nominees were An American Marriage, Better Late Than Never, Black Panther, Who is the Black Panther, Envy, and They Come in All Colors. And the winner was An American Marriage. Moving along to 2020, the nominees were The Revisioners, New Daughters of Africa, Out of Darkness, Shining Light, Red at the Bone, The Water Dancer, and the winner was The Revisioners. In 2021, we had the following nominees: The Awkward Black Man, The Vanishing Half, Riot Baby, Lakewood, and Black Bottom Saints. The winner that year was The Awkward Black Man. And in 2022, we had Long Division, Harlem Shuffle, Liberty, The Man Who Lived Underground, and The Perishing, with the winner being Long Division. So those are our nominees and winners from the last 5 years. This year's nominees are the following: Everything Is Not Enough, Family Lore, The House of Eve, Let Us Descend, and The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store. So keeping in mind those books that have been past nominees and past winners, it's interesting to wonder if there's a pattern, if some of those books will lead us to guessing what books from this year's nominees which book I should say, will indeed win. So, keeping that in mind, let me share with you our 5 nominees for the NAACP Outstanding Literary Work Fiction. We have Everything Is Not Enough, which is the sequel to In Every Mirror She Is Black. I read In Every Mirror She's Black earlier in March, I believe, and I have to tell you guys, that book blew me away. We are following 3 main characters, 3 Black women who have 3 very different lived experiences, both from their past and their current lives. Yet, these 3 women intersect through this strange individual, this Swedish man, that they're all three connected with. It's very interesting. So in Every Mirror She's Black, I was so deeply moved by all three of these women. I found myself so fully immersed and invested in each of their stories. I found myself really caring about what decisions they were going to make, and some of the decisions were great, some of them were horrible. But I have to tell you, that ending, oh my lordy, I might have had a tear streaming down my face, which leads me to its sequel, Everything Is Not Enough. We have two of the three previous women that we continue to follow, with the third woman being a side character from the previous book. These women continue to be on a journey of self-discovery. They continue to be on a journey where their Blackness is in full bloom and just fully informing how they show up in the world and how the world responds to them. I think this was a well-deserved nominee. I'm glad that it's one of the nominees for this award for Outstanding Literary Fiction. Family Lore by Elizabeth Acevedo is a book that I was really curious about. It is Elizabeth Acevedo's very first adult fiction novel. I am a huge fan of all of her previous work, which was in the young adult category. And we are following a family, the Martes, that are so wild. These women are so wild. So we're following these sisters. They do have a brother, but we're mainly following the sisters and some of their offspring. They have been given magical powers, some of them, everything from being able to see a death before it actually happens. Other magical powers are a little, not G-rated, so I'm not going to share those. They're quite interesting and fleshed out fully in the book. I digress. These women are coming together for their sister Floor's wake. Now, Floor's not dead though, but Floor can see into the future and see deaths happening before they happen. And so Floor, wanting to have a wake for herself, has everyone in hysterics. Like, is Floor going to die? Who's going to die? What's going to happen? What does she know? Why are we going to this wake when this woman is clearly awake? And then the rest just flows. I'm really intrigued that this is a nominee. I don't feel like it is Elizabeth Acevedo at her best. Usually her writing flows. This was a little bit disjointed for me, yet the characters were lively enough that I could keep going along. So we shall see where this book lands. Then we have The House of Eve. Y'all, people were saying, pick this book up. You will not regret it. And I am so sad that it took me so long to do just that. But Diverse Spines inspired me to do it because The House of Eve was a Spine of the Month a while ago. And between that and this nomination, I knew now was the time. In The House of Eve, we have two characters, Eleanor and Ruby, two different women, two different Black women from two different areas. Ruby from Philly and Eleanor from Ohio, who has recently moved to go to, I believe it's Hampton University near the DC area. Y'all, one woman, Eleanor, becomes smitten with an aspiring doctor, Black man who comes from wealth. And then Ruby falls in love with a Jewish man, a forbidden love because racism is very much alive in America. And their lives, their romances, their sexual encounters end up intersecting and coming together for this full story that is so layered, and that ending, mwah, chef's kiss. The House of Eve is a well-deserved nominee for this award. Next, I was fortunate enough to be given an ARC, an advanced reader's copy, of Let Us Descend by Jesmyn Ward. Similarly to Family Lore by Elizabeth Acevedo, Let Us Descend is full of some magical realism and also so beautifully written. I mean, Jesmyn Ward is probably one of the most prolific writers of our modern times. She is deserving of all the flowers, all the awards and accolades. And this book was quite interesting. We're following the journey of enslavement in a way unlike I've ever experienced. That story is told, like, just constantly told, to the point, quite frankly, of fatigue, where we want some Black joy. There's tons of books on enslavement, but this one is told through this young woman encountering a spirit of her ancestors along the journey. And this spirit is informing how she goes through this experience, what choices she makes, and it adds a layer to the story of enslavement and captivity that hasn't really been touched upon, and it gives it a deep spiritual experience. So I was reading along. I was into it much more so than I was Sing Unburied Sing. Not a fan of that book. But I don't know. It was a lot of magical realism and not a lot of real. So I felt like it needed a little more of a balance for me. But I am not the least bit surprised that this book made it to the nominees list for this award. And finally, we have my boo, Mr. James McBride with the Heaven and Earth Grocery Store. So this is now my third book by James McBride. Deacon King Kong remains my favorite James McBride book by far, probably one of my favorite books of all time. Definitely in the top 3. I love The Color of Water as well, his memoir. This book, it was James McBride at his usual best. You are not going to be disappointed. If you pick a James McBride book up, you are going to be entertained. You are going to be enthralled by these characters, and there's always a heck of a lot of characters. Now that I've read his memoir, I'm not surprised because dude grew up with like 11 siblings. So I think he's just really at his best and comfortable with a lot going on and a lot of characters. So this book is about this town in Pennsylvania that was a predominantly Jewish town. Well, not really. I don't remember. Like, all I know is this particular neighborhood in the town was predominantly Jewish, and people started leaving because more Black people were coming to the area. However, this one woman and her husband remained, and she was just a giver and a lover of all people. And she just goes through this experience, this health tragedy, this health trauma and drama. And the found family that she's formed in the Black community rally behind her to support her and her husband because she, quite frankly, along with her father, have done so much to support the Black community. It is entertaining. There's plenty to laugh about, and there's plenty to cry about as well. So this book was like all over the place in 2023 for winning a ton of awards. So I can't say I'm surprised that it's landed in the NAACP Image Award nominee list for Outstanding Literary Fiction. Okay, folks, so where does La Rosa stand with all of these nominees? Well, in looking at the previous winners, I can pretty much take one book off right away. Everything is Not Enough, I don't think is enough to win this award. First and foremost, I think that's the case because it is the second book in a series. No book in a series has won. I can't even, as I look at this list, I can't really think off the top of my head that of any of these books that's a part of a series. If so, not very many, but definitely none of the winners are part of a series. So that's really tricky for me. I can't see a book that is in a series winning this award. The next book that I'm going to eliminate is Family Lore. It just wasn't giving, and not to make this, like, this is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, really focused on the Black community, and although, like, the Black Latina experience, this experience of a Dominican family definitely holds up and is to be celebrated, it is an outlier in comparison to the previous winners. It's not really a story like any of the others that have won in the past. Also, it's kind of lowly rated compared to the other books. It came with mixed reviews, more nays than yays. So I can't see it shining in this context at all. And the next book that I'm going to eliminate may surprise you, but it's The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store. I don't see this book winning because I think it's about found family across different races and ethnicities and beliefs. And these books that have won in the past really uplift the Black experience. And I think that The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store is doing too much. I don't want to say too much. I loved it. I love a good story about different cultures coming together. But for this award, that's not typically the book that wins. So I'm going to eliminate The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store. Plus, that book has been everywhere and won. And some of these previous winners weren't necessarily books that had won other awards the year that they won the NAACP Image Award. The next book that I'm eliminating is going to be really hard for me. I don't want to do it. But I'm only basing this off of previous winners, and it's The House of Eve. If I was doing this whole voting thing for the NAACP Image Award, I definitely would vote for The House of Eve. However, we've got historical fiction with The House of Eve. We've got women's rights. We've got romance. We've got so much, the Black woman experience, and two very different Black experiences. But there's something about it that doesn't stack up with the others in regards to the acclaim and the level of sophistication of writing. I don't know how else to say that. I'm not saying these books are stuffy, but I mean, some of these books go deep. So for instance, you have Envy, like some of the nominees are very much the House of Eve-esque, but they don't win. The books that win tend to hit strong with literary exquisiteness, if you will. So that leaves me predicting that Let Us Descend by Jesmyn Ward is going to win this year. We've got a book that is following the journey of enslavement. Previous books have dealt with race, whether it's during Jim Crow, during enslavement. The books that have won in the past are usually focused on very significant moments in the Black experience, such as enslavement, such as Jim Crow. And so Let Us Descend does just that in focusing on the time of enslavement, but yet does so in a way that is very different. It has a little something different to offer, different enough that it stands out. And Jesmyn Ward is a winner. Jesmyn Ward is highly acclaimed. This makes sense to me. So, am I right? Let's see. I've been hiding on Instagram because I did not want to see this. All right, so I'm going to first try to find out by looking at Sadiqa Johnson's Instagram page because she is the author of The House of Eve, and I see a picture of her. So she looks happy. Oh, what a night at the NAACP Image Awards. The cherry on top was that my little Miss Bossy was my +1. Okay, great for you. Did you win? Doesn't look like she won. Okay, time to just go to the Image Award website. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh! The winner is Family Lore by Elizabeth Acevedo. Okay, interesting. Your girl was wrong. Did I say wrong? But I ain't mad at it. I love me some Elizabeth Acevedo. Kudos to her. Solid read. I am pleasantly surprised, and I'm glad she got her flowers with this one because people have been not too friendly about her first adult novel. They feel like it's a letdown compared to her young adult work. So congratulations, Elizabeth Acevedo. Well deserved, and I had fun exploring this award ceremony with you. So, would you like me to do more of these? Let your girl know. And until next time, Happy reading. Bye!